Most of us are nervous about taking exams where we have to get as many answers right as possible, or when we try to prove we can do something well enough to do it as a job or as part of our life. Psychometric tests often don't have one right answer. They can do many valuable things using many different ways of asking questions and getting responses. They can help us learn or train, identify a problem with our physical or mental health, predict if we'll succeed in a role, find out whether people will get along, help us understand ourselves better and make choices. Tests are used in offices, hospitals, schools, prisons, research institutes and homes. And many are a real pleasure to take, since thinking about ourselves is one of our favourite occupations. Aren't there simple ways of doing this? For instance, many organisations recruit on the basis of asking a few informal questions in a 30-minute interview. But that's about as accurate as flipping a coin. Heads we employ, tails we don't. By contrast, true psychometric tests go through a tough testing and development process. Here's a very simplified example. Who doesn't like happiness? Schools, companies and governments have recently understood how important it is. Maybe they should have asked people like us a long time ago. Anyway, so how would you create a happiness test? First, read up everything you can about happiness and settle on a definition. Then, develop what are known as items, questions that people answer, or pictures and diagrams they react to, all related to your definition of happiness. Lots of people take your experimental test and you record their responses. Then either you or an expert statistician using big, very specialist software packages analyze the data, trying to decide, do different people answer differently? And can we identify the various ways they respond? Are there lots of separate things making up happiness? Do people lie about or exaggerate how happy they are? May some of our questions measure the same underlying issue, even though they look different or are worded differently? Is something affecting the results which we are not intending to measure? Age or gender, or the ability to understand the test? Gradually you decide on questions that seem to measure happiness, which probably comprises aspects on which you and I score very differently. They might be optimism, a stable partnership, doing interesting work with a good purpose, owning a pet. Of course, this is a much simplified version of the process, and there is lots more work to do before you can let a government, a company, or a psychologist loose on real people. But by the end, we'll know more about who is happy and who isn't, and what effect that has on their life and work. We think that would be time well spent. We hope you do too. The European Test Publishers Group. Improving European testing.